You had to play by yourself and swing.
Very late.
Like my mom still asks me, she goes, "Do you be out there cussing on the field?"
Right? You like yes.
Yes, man.
1,000%. Right? You like, I gotta give it how I get it. Like nah, bro. But all right, so for everybody tuning in, listening, this is an episode that I've been looking forward to because this is somebody that I respect and I appreciate, somebody that I've admired from afar. Because I saw you, I remember seeing you on Twitter, and I like read like the scouting reports that I came across that you had written, and I was like, damn, like this is good. And I didn't even know you played college ball. And then like somebody mentioned it in passing on Twitter, like they retweeted your shit and they're like, yo, he knows this stuff, blah, blah, blah. I was like, word, oh shit, he plays. And I think at the time I was either with the first pick or PFN. And that's when I first came across you. And then being with ATB, Ronnie was like, oh, yo, we got Jeremiah. I was like, what? Y'all got Jeremiah? Like I was bugging. But anyway, yeah. So for everybody listening, if y'all haven't guessed already, I have an illustrious guest. Jeremiah Bogan. It's Bogan, right? Am I saying
yes,
that right?
sir. Yes, sir.
All right, Jeremiah Bogan. It's my boy. What's up, man?
Man, I'm good. You know, people finally hear my full name, you know, a little different. Like, oh, that's JB from JB Sciggy. Yeah, that's
yeah.
Like you said, I think when you got to the first pick was like right when I was leading out and going towards draft, going to draft. I was like, I kind of just missed you on my way out at first pick, pretty much.
Yeah,
like by maybe like a week or so.
Yeah,
so,
that's right. That's right. I remember because like it was real early when I started it with the first pick because Corey had picked me up, and then I remember that's when I came across you. I think Corey retweeted you, and I saw you were like on Draft Bible, and I was like, oh shit. And like Corey had mentioned, you were with the first pick at one point, and I was like, "Oh wow! Like people can move up. This is nice." Like,
bro, it's so crazy because like everything that happens to me feels like an accident.
Yeah,
when you come in the football world, everybody's like, "I want to be this in the football world," but it's a big nepotism business. Like, there's nobody teaching you where to start at or anything like that.
1,000%.
Just previous experiences, like doing the scouting academy, meeting Dan Hatman, impressing there and stuff, that led me to my first writing gig at like Pro Football Ready that no one knows about. It's like a startup site in Britain or whatever.
Yeah.
England. Me and Ryan Roberts actually started out there, which is how we formed our bond at this tiny site trying to get it going. Ryan left, got big, got huge actually. My God. I ended up going with the first pick, met Corey. I tell Corey all the time, like he's where my foundation, like my big foundation on the scale of everybody seeing my work, because with the first pick gave me that foundation. I remember DMing me and was like, hey, would you want to write for with the first pick? I was like, bro, what? This website got a check mark? Like they had a check mark. Yeah. And then like just doing your work and just being diligent in everything you do, more opportunities come across you. You know, the draft Bible came. Yeah. And then that came with being paired with Sports Illustrated. And then, obviously now I'm with Optimum Scouting and the East West Shrine Game. So it's been a crazy journey. I'm so thankful for what God has done for me. I can express to you how it's so funny because like I said in our last episode, the mental health episode with Skiggy, I'm really trying to give kids, especially in my community, the blueprint to something that never really had a blueprint for. Like I'm able to do all this while playing football and still focusing on everything that I'm doing on the field. So it's been a crazy journey, man. I'm so thankful.
No, it's awesome, bro. And like, as JB said, he is one half of On Campus, which is like a dope podcast on the ATB network. I've been like listening to every single one of y'all episodes. And the one thing that strikes me is the chemistry, first of all, but also just like you said, y'all are off script, but it just seems like y'all are just so natural with it because it's off script, but you're very professional. You're very articulate. I feel like both of y'all really express yourself so well, and it just comes through so easily. And like, even if y'all were like stumbling over how to say it or whatever, y'all are just honest. You know what I mean? And I think that's what I appreciate when I listen to it, because I'm like, I can tell these boys really like feel the opinions they share. But like, if you want to, you can go into a little bit just like your chemistry with Skiggy and just like how y'all like gotten along and everything.
Skig, whatever you want to call him. He's funny because when Skiggy was in high school, he played in an illustrious high school program called South Point. So like I had always gone to all their high school games. He played there in Kendrick because I was dating a girl at the time who went to the university that was in that same city. So like I used to go to like all their high school games. Like I didn't know Sciggy at the time, and then one time I reached out to him after games, like, "Hey man, you look good out there. I hate you guys lost this game because like it was a rare loss for them." So I was like, you just bounce back all that stuff. So like we never been following each other on Twitter for a while, but our friendship never really passed beyond that. Like we saw each other on Twitter all the time, and from a distance, we were always like seeing each other's tweets. Or like, wow, this is actually a guy who knows football. Like it's very rare to find people that actually know what they're talking about in that world and not just giving hot takes.
Yeah,
so
true.
we were sitting there. I was like, man, this guy like actually thinks like me and everything. And then one day he actually hit me up. He was like, hey, we just need to start a podcast or something or whatever. So in my mind, I'm like, man, I'm busy with football and everything. And then next thing, because the reason me and Around the Block had actually been a thing probably a year and a half ago, like right before COVID, me and Ronnie's like, let's start a podcast. Because Ronnie's another guy I met in high school. One of the rare people that actually knew sports that I could actually talk all sports with. Become a great friend and a brother to me. He was like, let's do a podcast. I was like, okay, cool. So he's like, what should we name it? I was like, well, if we're going to be doing every single sport, let's call it Around the Block. So he's like, that's dope. Let's roll with that. And then like we used to just go to his apartment, record, started his apartment clubhouse, record some episodes. Then we stopped because I got busy with football training and everything like that. Next thing you know, he came to me with the vision. Like 2 weeks after Sciggy had asked me, and I was like, bro, we'll give you a podcast on your network. We'll be here while we can before football season gets busy. We probably have to dive down the episodes a little bit, but we're gonna do our best to like try and help push everything forward. But I'm so thankful for Sciggy, man. He's one of the better dudes I've ever met. Genuine person, positive person, hilarious dude. I get to talk to him a lot, and that's why I try to force him to host so much, but he doesn't really do it because he's such an intelligent dude, very kind-hearted. I'm so appreciative of him. I love that dude to death. And he's the kind of guy you would never notice, but like I can be a naturally shy person and I'm a huge introvert. But when I talk to someone like him, my mouth never stops running because there's so few people that actually have like all this conversation with. Like with Skig, whenever we talk, I'm in a good place. He cares about my mental health. I care about his. Like that's where the chemistry comes from. Just two dudes that truly care about each other. And, we kind of see eye to eye on some things. We disagree on some things. That's how it works. But at the end of the day, I love that dude to death, and I'm excited to see where this keeps going. Yeah,
no, and that's something that really strikes me too. The fact that y'all care about each other, you can see it's there. Y'all have talked about mental health, which I mean is such a rarity. I mean, just in like sports in general, but then to see like two men talk about it, you know what I mean, is very important. So I applaud y'all for that. Like that was maybe my favorite episode when y'all focused on it. But then also, I really appreciate that you guys have this like respect for each other. So if y'all disagree, it comes off very, very smooth and natural when y'all are talking. And it's not something like obnoxious or over the top. You know what I mean? Like something you see on First Take, like you be like, man,
exactly.
No, you bugging. And then it's like, no, let me explain. And you give each other the ground to support it. And you respect the opinion, even if you disagree. So that's something that like, if y'all are listening and you have not listened to On Campus yet, you have to. Like, first of all, if you listen to my shit, you should be listening to On Campus because my shit is trash. Like, it's just fun and that's all it is. But like, they come on, and it's just like, yo, you would not tell that they just started this shit. So like, I highly recommend On Campus, and I highly recommend like just following JB, following Sciggy on Twitter because both of them are dope. And they're just cool people. There's good vibes all the time. That's part of why I got JB on right now. But
I had to beg him. You had to beg him. Don't let him tweet. This show is not trash. I had to beg him to get on this show. A-list, a B-list, and a C-list. I think I fell in the D category. It took a while.
We
here now, baby. Just know that.
You was A-list. It's just scheduling problems because we out here busy. But real quick. I want to cover this. I don't even know if this will make the pod. I might cut it out. But like, so are you from South Carolina? Because you said you met Ronnie in high school.
So here's my journey. I was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I lived there till I was 2. Then I moved to Georgia. I moved to Atlanta. Lived in Atlanta till I was 10. My mom got remarried, and that's when I moved up to South Carolina when I was 10 or 11. So that whole culture shock was a lot. I've never been around so many white people in my life.
Especially after Atlanta. Like
it was wild. Like, oh, these people got bread. Wow, this is crazy. But anyway, and now I've just been here. I've played college ball in the state as well. I originally started at Elon, though, in North Carolina. But my journey's, I've been in South Carolina for a long time now. Whenever I graduate school here, or I finish my last football season here in December, I'll be moving out on the West Coast to live with my mom and my brother who just had his first child. So be close to my family again. And I talked about that a little bit on the last episode on campus. So
okay, cool, man. That's what's up. No, that's dope. It's funny because like it's completely different, but I had like a sort of similar journey in terms of like, you know, just moving around so much as a kid.
I've been trying to figure out your geography, dude. I've been trying.
No, it's funny. It's a mystery. Like I just try not to let people in too much, but like essentially, if I was just going to divulge, like both my parents, my entire family, everybody's from Manhattan, everybody's from New York, and my parents met in New York. My dad was in the Marine Corps, and then they got married, and like several months later, he got orders to move to Norfolk, Virginia. And my parents had me there, so I was born in Norfolk, and then we moved like not even a year later. Like I was maybe 8 or 9 months. We moved to San Diego, California. Yeah, I know. I was there for 2 or 3 years. We moved away when I was like 4, and then we moved to New York. And I was in New York for like, I want to say 6 or 7 years. And then my father retired in North Carolina. He got orders in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Okay. Retired. And then we moved up to Virginia. And that's where like I finished up Richmond, Virginia. I finished up middle school, high school. And then college, I got a full ride to Claflin University. So I was in South Carolina for college. Okay. And yeah, so I was in Orangeburg, which for y'all that don't know, oh my Lord, oh my goodness. Like it has a soft spot for me, but it ain't nothing like Richmond. It ain't nothing like Baltimore, which is where I'm at right now. Like
people only go to Orangeburg if they have to. And I've only been there once for a college visit. I would never ever be back there for any reason.
I'm gonna be honest, like the main reason, like, well, I'll say the 2 reasons, because it was more than one, but the 2 reasons were, first, it was the full ride. And yeah, exactly. My parents were like, nah, go wherever you want. We're going to help you, blah, blah, blah. And I got into these other bigger schools. And there was a minute where I was going to go to Temple. Like I was dead set on going to Temple in Philly. Okay. But like I only got I got a half ride, but because I was out of state, you know, tuition's wild. So it's like half ride. Yeah, half ride is going to make me in state, which is still a lot of money. It's like, nah, I can't do that. So I stumbled upon Claflin actually, because like I went to this college fair, and as I was leaving, the rep for Claflin was walking in, and they made like this announcement where they were like, oh, his plane was delayed. If you want to talk to him, he's setting up his table. And my dad's like, oh, you want to go home still? And I was like, oh, let's give this one guy a shot. And we waited online, and I had a resume typed up. I had my my transcripts. And he looked at it and was like, oh, I could get you a full ride. And I was like, what? Excuse me? Yeah, I was like, what? And so that was the main selling point. I was like, okay, I ain't got to pay for nothing, right? Except textbooks. That's the only thing I had to buy. But when I did the college visit, I didn't know what Claflin was until he told me. He was like, oh, it's in South Carolina. It's at HBCU. And so when I visited, I felt like really at home, which was striking because like the listeners know, like I'm Puerto Rican. Both my parents are Puerto Rican. And I always felt like out of place because it's like everywhere I've lived, there's not that many Puerto Ricans unless we were in New York. You know what I'm saying? And then even then, I'm like the educated kid in my family, in my generation. So I'm like the white kid, as like some of my cousins would say. So I'm like, you know, I never felt like I was at home. So then in high school, it's predominantly white. And as I'm like touring this college and they're talking about the programs they do, they're talking about the history of it, and then the classes they have. And I got to talk to some students that were there, and I got to talk to a few professors. I was like, damn, like it would be nice to be here because it's like, even though I'm not Black, like people understand where I'm at in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not just like.
I mean, you're part of us.
You said, I appreciate it. No, like, but that was my thing, was like, it's not, you know, the stuff that my family has gone through in New York and the stuff that I've seen. Like, I know a lot of people will understand it at Claflin. So I felt like, okay, I'm gonna go. And it was funny because like orientation day, I show up and it's me and there's four other Latinos, and like 3 of them are Puerto Rican So I like bonded with them real quick. But then everybody's black because it's like 97% black. Yeah. And just like my entire 4 years there, I never felt like I had to be anything different than like who I was. You know what I'm saying? And like that's why I tell people like going to HBCU is crazy because it just made me feel prideful. I felt at home. I didn't feel like I had to act like anybody else. Like, you know, in high school, you're around like white people and sometimes you feel this pressure where it's like, oh, I got to act a certain way. And exactly. You get questioned about your identity, especially like, I can't count how many times like somebody asked if I was Mexican or like if I could make tacos, like, you know, like the stupid, the dumbest stereotypical shit you could think of. Like,
it's like if I like watermelon. No, I don't like watermelon.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. It's like I had a supervisor one time at a job of mine asked me point blank, like, you know how to make refried beans? And I was just like,
that's wild.
I looked at her. I was like, ma'am, like, no. I was like, wait, no. And then she go, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, you sorry now? Because like I called you out on it. Like, and that was
Rachel Nichols.
Right. And that's what I was like, you know, like that type of stuff is crazy. The identity politics that go into, you know, just being a minority in a white space. So to go to a black school where my identity politics were like dampened like so much, you know what I mean? It was minimized so much. Like, you know, people would be like, hey, are you Mexican? Are you Cuban? I'd be like, nah, I'm Puerto Rican. They're like, oh, okay. And then from then on, that was it. You know what I mean? It's almost like they were asking just to be respectful. So exactly. I never ran into that where it was like, oh, you good at making chorizo and tacos and shit? And I'm just like, bruh, only if they were cracking on me, like sometimes. But, you know, like the journey is crazy because you go to all these different places and then the culture shock hits you. So for me, when I was looking at college, Claflin giving me the full ride was like, yeah, I'm in South Carolina. I'm like 8.5 hours away from home or whatever. But like, I felt at home really quick. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I was curious. Cause like when you say you knew Ronnie, I know Ronnie is from South Carolina. So I was like, oh, where? You know what I'm saying?
He was a great ahead of me.
Yeah, no. So is it true? Cause this was established on the first episode. Is it true that he got an arm? Like he could throw?
Bro, Ronnie can throw, like, but everybody can throw, but Ronnie played baseball. Ronnie played some baseball in his life, so like he has like a strong arm. But
okay,
I mean,
okay.
This man thought he was ready for a private Jacksonville for number one pick or something. That was cap.
I know he was like, yo, if I went with it, I might have been number one pick this year. I was like, okay, talk your shit. That's the point of the pod. Like, all right, bro. Oh my God, bro. I'm glad to know it's Cap. Ronnie, if you listen, it's Cap. I'm gonna hit him up on Twitter like right after this and just be like, when you say you had an arm, it was Cap. So all right, like I said, I edit the pod and everything like that. So like even this moment right now, I could cut it out. You got any hot topics that you want to talk about? Is there anything on your mind? Because like, all right, hold up really quick. This is what I had on the docket for us.
All right,
because I just been trying to like write down just different topics, and I thought you would be perfect for it because you cover, you know, you're a student athlete, you know sports, you write about sports, you're in this world. So several topics, the NIL laws that were passed recently. So I figured maybe that might be something you want to talk about. The stuff with Rachel Nichols, obviously, that's another thing. Mainly wanted to run it by you because I didn't know if y'all talked about it on like your coming podcast.
Oh, we haven't even recorded this week yet. We don't record till Friday, so
till Friday. Okay, I got you. All right, cool. So you can limit how much you want to talk about it. Like if you're like, all right, let's cut it out. Let me know because I don't know what you want to save for y'all pod. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
All right, cool. But I guess the one that I really want to get your opinion on is the NIL laws, especially because I know you are an athlete for a college. So your opinion on this, I feel like, is going to carry major weight. So people that listen to this are, you know, going to get an understanding because ATB has a lot of sports pods. My pod, I try to diversify and cover a bunch of things. Yeah. So I might have listeners that aren't necessarily sports centric. Okay. So to get your opinion, I think is big. You know what I'm saying?
Also, throw in your little 4 questions that you be asking. Those be lit. I like the 4 questions.
Oh, the ones at the end? Okay. Yeah. No, I can ask you that. We'll do that toward the end because I always save it for the ending because it's like we get to talking shit, and then like you have those random questions that we just go through.
No.
But yeah, so like if you want to just go off about NIL, your opinion on it, because I had a debate with somebody on Twitter that was like they shouldn't get paid outside of this, and I was like, bro, come on, you know what I'm saying? But I want your opinion first before I say anything.
My thing is, if you think we shouldn't be paid outside of this, how about you be us for one day, come to our workouts, come to our practices, and tell me that scholarship is enough for the shit that we go through. Like, I don't agree. Like, that's not at all. And the funniest thing about it is you had the NCAA for years continue to push back these talks. Like, every time it came up, they're like, oh, we're trying to work right now to have a rule that we could put out down the line about 2 or 3 years. Well, when the Supreme Court got on that ass, it was like, oh, no, it's okay. July 1st, you guys got it. We're cool. Because they knew the Supreme Court was going to keep coming back with different little topics every little time. And it was going to embarrass the NCAA, and it probably was going to end the NCAA as we knew it. And it's just amazing the fact that how can you tell me I'm not – like, I agree with I don't know if you've ever seen Jay Billis talk about this over the years. Jay Billis, he always has the quote, there's just not enough money to go around. Well, my thing is, like, how am I not worth what I'm making this school worth? Like, how am I not worth anything of that? It makes no sense to me. And I think it's more so the people who they like power. That's all it is at the end of the day. People, years back, these rich white men or this high class of white men decided to come up with a definition called amateurism. And at the time, that probably was not a bad idea. I would say amateurism was probably right at the time for when it was made. But when it becomes $1 million, $1 billion industry, you have to start adjusting to those things accordingly. If Reggie Bush, I think they said, was worth $4 to $6 million annually when he was in college, he would have been worth $4 to $6 million annually, not total over his career, annually. You mean to tell me that he's not worth a dime of that? When you come to the games to watch him, the reason you're a part of this fan base is to watch him. Like, some people just became USC fans just to watch Reggie Bush, and they probably left after that. Probably never came to USC game after that. Cam Newton put asses in the seat at Auburn. But they got mad when his dad knew his worth. His dad was out there. I know Cam Newton's dad was low-key pimping him out, but still, he knew his worth at the end of the day. And you just can't tell me, like, if I were a student who, let's say I wrote in the school paper and my talent is writing, my gift is writing, I still probably get paid some amount of money from the school for my scholarship and everything because I have good grades and everything to get in. But the school journal, the school paper, or say that one of the local papers around the area see that I'm a good writer, like, hey, can you start writing a couple of pieces for us, like once a week or whatever, we'll pay you for that piece. They're not going to get their scholarships taken from the university just because, like, the university has encouraged those kids to use their opportunities within the school to help network and bridge out to get those paid opportunities and everything. Because at the end of the day, it makes the school look better too. Like, oh, we've sent this amount of kids to this local newspaper. They read our newspaper every week, and they usually pick out a student or two every year, and they pay them. Those kids don't lose their scholarships. They get to maximize their worth, maximize their value. You mean to tell me I couldn't do something as simple as, I'm probably the biggest player that came out of my high school in the last 10 years or whatever. So my high school wants me to come back and say they're having a car wash. They just want to put my name or put my face on the brochure or whatever. They can't give me $100 for that. That's fucking ridiculous. At the end of the day, like, why can't I get that? It's not like it doesn't make me a better player. It's not an unfair advantage at the end of the day. And I think what NIL does open up now is we're going to see a lot more exciting things happen in college football. Like, you saw the 5-star receiver the other day.
Oh. Hello? If you can hear me, you froze. Oh, no. Hold on.
There you go.
There you go. All right. Last thing I heard was 5-star receiver.
Okay, so you had the 5-star receiver commit to SMU, and that was the biggest thing that I thought was going to come out of the NIL. I thought we were going to see a little more parity in college football because you have a place like SMU's in a perfect city like Dallas, but it's a shit football program ever since the Pony Express happened. First of all, that kid's a genius because he saw the Pony Express 30 for 30 probably, and he said, "Oh, they was giving out cash in the 80s. I know that. I know that cat."
I thought the same thing.
I know they're still giving it. SMU is so funny because, a little side note, when SMU got suspended or got caught for their violation the first time with Pony Express, you know what they did? Those people that were paying those players said, "Okay, well, we'll take this death penalty, but we still gotta keep paying these players because we got a payroll to meet." It's like they were still paying the players during the death penalty because they had to meet their payroll. I was like, bro. And like the thing, like if I'm a 5-star recruit, say it's gonna turn into like when you play the NCAA video game. I'm a 5-star quarterback. Say I want to go to the University of Buffalo. I'm about to take every single chicken wing sponsorship joint in that place. It's like at the end of the day, like I can go maximize my worth at a smaller school, still focus on my talents. I'm gonna still be the man. I might be playing in a weaker conference. I might be who look like a god at the end of the day.
Yeah,
and that's just what I think is going to come from the NIL. Like seeing kids go to different places, try out new schools, give other schools chances, and maybe they could get a guy or two to come with them. Because if you, why would I be another fish in a big pond like Alabama and split my money with people? If I could just go to SMU and they about to throw back, I'm the biggest thing they've seen in 10 to 15 years. Like I'm the guy now. And I do think that will come with a lot of pressure, a lot of mental health issues for guys at that level. But I think that's also a good thing that me and Sciggy try to do with our podcast too, is we don't just tell people about our adversity. We tell people what we did during our adversity. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not enough for you to tell me that this happened to you in your life. Like, I care that happened to you, but how the hell did you get out of it? Tell me how you got out of it. Don't just tell me that it happened and now you're another. Like, I want to know everything that happened in between there. I want to know the process. And I think NIL, it's going to bring its advantage, it's going to bring its disadvantage, but at the end of the day, it's going to be good for kids because now kids, maybe this kid who comes, you know the demographic of college football, they're pulling kids out of the hood a lot of times, and now these kids are a lot of kids who get those stipend checks are sending them back to their families anyway, and those stipend checks still aren't enough to pay all their families' bills. It's like I'm at school living in a nice dorm / a 5-star hotel luxury type apartment off campus that the coaches are paying for. But my mama only got her lights on. You see what I'm saying? Like that don't make sense. And you're telling me I can't make any kind of money to help my mom? At the end of the day, kids like that are going to take that. They don't care if your school is going to get their wins vacated or anything. They just want to make sure their mom got lights on. Their little brother and sisters got food to eat at the end of the day. And now you're affording kids a chance to do that, to be providers for their family before they go to the NFL. Not a whole nother, mom, just wait 4 years and then I'll be able to provide for us and then I'll get us out of poverty. It's like, no, now I can start taking care of us now and setting us up for the future. Because what if I do get hurt in college and I don't make it to the NFL? Then I don't ever get the money that I was planning on getting to take care of my family. And I don't know what I want to do with my life. Why not maximize your value now? That's my thing. You're only as valuable right now.
Exactly. Okay, so first of all, I think you covered like literally every base that I could possibly think of when it comes to like why this is a good thing. But so I'm not going to call them out as much as I want to be spicy, but the person that wanted to disagree with me on Twitter and say outside of NIL, they should get paid, blah, blah, blah. You know, their argument can get boiled down to whether they listen to this and agree or not, because essentially I had like 6 or 7 people that were like, yeah, that's what he was saying. So I was like, oh, I'm not bugging. Cool. Like, I know I'm right. But his argument boiled down to the fact that, oh, I'm a normal student and I work my ass off from my grades and everything like that, and I don't get a free education. So
you don't make
I feel like, and that's my problem, right? Is like, first of all, we can't compare apples to oranges. If you're a normal student, you chose to go to that school. The same as, because I've seen that argument before where it's like, oh, this dude chose to go to the school. Why he transferred to get playing time? You know what I mean? It's like, come on. You're just picking and choosing when this argument applies now. Because like Joe Burrow wouldn't have been nothing if he didn't leave. It was Ohio State, right? Mm-hmm. He went to LSU. And then there was those questions, even though it wasn't a big deal, but there were those questions where it's like, oh, why he leave? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yeah, he left so he could play and show what he is because the coaching staff maybe doesn't have faith in him or isn't giving him a fair shot, whatever it may be. But the same people criticizing these dudes for transferring for free because they're not getting paid. Joe Burrow didn't get paid. They're the same people that are saying, oh, like you chose to come to this school and take this scholarship. So just deal with whatever it is that you're given, no matter what school you go to. And everybody's like situation is different. Maybe people got money and their parents are good, so they can go to this school for free or whatever, but not every player is going through that. And not to mention, if you're an average student, and this is the argument that I made, I was like, if you were an average student, I had a full ride. So I understand I benefited too. I had a full ride off of academics. But it's like, if I wanted to go party on Friday, I could go party on Friday. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to worry about being hung over for a game the next fucking day at noon. So that's my thing is like, your situation does not compare. Yeah, you may have to pay all these loans back. But as much as you're saying this dude chose to take this scholarship and come to this school and not get paid nothing, you chose to go to this school and not take an opportunity to be a mechanic or to be a vet tech or go into cosmetology, where you could go to a community college that's way cheaper and still make some money. You know what I'm saying? Like, you chose your path that's for you. I'm not saying you got to do those professions, but those professions theoretically are going to have less hurdles than you go into an undergrad degree where you're going to have way more in debt comparatively. But that's not what you want to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I told Sciggy that in our last episode, like, I don't want, like, the thing that I want to do with what I'm doing with scouting and kind of work my way up in the NFL front offices, I want kids to see, like, you don't have to be the people on the field to be important. Like, I think a lot of times we make people feel less about themselves because they're not an athlete or they don't have a skill that we can physically see or that's on a broad stage. And, like, I'm not saying that you're lame or you're useless or your talent's worthless if you're a normal student at the end of the day, but you have to understand that when you choose to take the route of a normal student, this is what comes with being a normal student. Loans come with that. Other things come with that. When I chose to take the path of an athlete, I understand this comes with this. I get the full rides. You get all the scholarship money. You get those. It's not my fault that that's what came with my gifts. Like, I didn't choose my benefits. I just chose the path.
Yep. Exactly.
Like, I didn't choose the negatives. I just chose the path. Like,
yep.
You chose to be a normal student. Okay, that's the path you chose. Whatever benefits and everything are with that, that's what it is. I don't sit there and knock you guys. Like, sometimes I do wish, like, dang, I wish I could be a regular student. I swear I have straight A's. But like, you don't have someone controlling your schedule Monday through Sunday for like 10 months out of a year, pretty much. Like, people don't understand that. Like, our whole schedule is micromanaged. People are telling you where to go, where to be, how to be there. Like, you get to have the freedom of, you do your homework on this day, you party on this day. You hang out with your girl on this day, you can do this on this day. You're not really sacrificing a lot for you to do your work. Like, you choose your sacrifices. Like, for us, it's like they choose our sacrifices for us. All right, you guys are going to sacrifice your social life. That's the first thing you're going to sacrifice. Then you're going to sacrifice this and sacrifice that. It's like, damn, what can I do? But,
exactly. Hey. And that's my thing is like, we cannot compare apples to oranges, and then we cannot compare the sacrifice that you make compared to another person, because it's not even just time, it's your body. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, say you don't make it to, say you make it, you could be completely healthy and not make it to the NFL. So say you get hurt, you know what I'm saying? And that derails the possibility of you getting to the NFL, or you never had a chance to get to the NFL, but you still get hurt. You still are going through all that pain, the rehab, everything that comes with overcoming an injury. And a regular student, a regular student could be playing ultimate frisbee and tear their ACL. You know what I'm saying? Like, no shade to ultimate frisbee people, but it's like, if you tear your ACL playing ultimate frisbee compared to a football player tearing their ACL, it's not the same, because you can still go to class and class is your priority.
You still have value.
Exactly.
People treat us as worthless. Like, I've been in programs, guys get hurt. It's like, shit, next man up. Everybody says next man up mentality, unless it's like your biggest star player, but they're going to push you to the side. They don't care about you until you're fully healthy. Like, you might have some coaches who truly do care about you, but in the grand scheme of things, they're like, we're going to keep business rolling as usual. We'll see you when we see you. And whenever you do decide to get back out here on the field, all right, boss, good luck in recovery and rehab.
Yep. Exactly. And that's the thing, dude. It's just like, I just hate when people want to compare their situation to another person's situation, first of all, but then also when you want to understand, like, or you want to make a point, this person, they shouldn't get this, because I feel like when I compare myself to them, it's similar, and you haven't even walked that path. You know what I'm saying? And then to give another point, it's two different, like, what gets me is, like, from the beginning, my dad explained it this way, and he said it to me, and because, like, him and I agreed, but when he explained why he thought players should get paid, I was like, oh, I never thought of it like that. But my dad was like, it's like two different fucking paths and two different like entities in the same room. So my dad, for context, my dad was a Marine. He did 20 years, he retired and everything like that. But people who are in the Marines will argue we're the toughest branch. We go through the hardest shit. We deal with the hardest shit. You know, we're the shock troops, all that, right? And my buddy Tony, who's been on previous episodes, will even say it. We go through the hardest shit. Marines are the toughest. But as much as they'll shit talk, my dad will never say that the Air Force is unnecessary or the Navy is unnecessary. Like, everybody's got this journey and this path and this purpose that they follow. If I choose the Army or the Navy, that don't necessarily mean that I'm worth less than like a Marine. So I look at it that way, where it's like, my dad said that, and I was like, yo, that's true. Like, y'all are all students, and you got some people that they work like, you know, they're like a waiter or a waitress, or they do work study, they're an RA at a dorm. You happen to be a football player. You know, your backgrounds and how much you worked and sacrificed and your individual situations, it's so varying that you cannot compare at all at any point. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if you're the most well-off person, you still worked your fucking ass off in high school to get this opportunity. So that don't mean you deserve it less necessarily, you know what I'm saying, than this kid who worked their ass off academically, but never had to deal with a shoulder injury, a knee injury, an ankle injury. They just had to study maybe a little more than, you know, the athlete did or something like that. Like, I just don't understand how people can compare paths that aren't identical.
It's really crazy because you're mad at a kid because y'all determined our worth. We're, as athletes, y'all determined our worth. I didn't decide for this shit to become $1 billion industry. You know, when I was a kid, I played football for free. It was fun. I loved it. When as I got older, I was like, wow, people really put this much money into this just to watch us play football. This is crazy. It's just a sport. But whatever. Y'all want to keep raising up, want to keep making the prices go up. Hey, cool. Yeah. That's fine with me. I'm not tripping. Like, that's my thing. Like, you can't get mad at us for something y'all determined. Like, society determined our value. We didn't choose to be $1 million players or a $1 billion industry. That's just how it went. That was just the course that it took.
Yep. And you know what? To that point, that's the thing, is like, I think that might be the ultimate point, to be honest. You don't have control over what the thing that you're good at and you're going into, you know, what it is and what it means to the greater society. Because, like, I don't know. It's like, if for some reason we lived in a society that said being a writer is the greatest accomplishment that you could ever achieve in your life, English majors would be in the position that, like, athletes are right now. You know what I'm saying? Where they could write papers and it gets the college money and grant money and scholarships. And then the English majors are like, why am I not seeing a dime of all this work that I'm putting in to write this shit down? And the college athletes are sitting there like, yo, I'm sacrificing my body and I don't even get grants or scholarships like y'all do. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's exactly what it is, where one person has a situation that is not identical to another, and then they decide to suddenly, or one side decides to compare to another. Y'all aren't deciding the value of what it is you're running into, or what you're deciding you're passionate about, or what you're deciding to invest into.
To put a bow on that, you know what we call those people? We just call them haters at the end of the day. Y'all just hate.
Yes.
You sit at home mad because you see dudes like, damn, they getting bread. What does me making money have to do with you? You worry about yourself. I don't bother you about the money you make or don't make. I just focus on my money. I don't pocket watch you. Don't pocket watch me.
Yep. Exactly. Like, I'm glad we covered it, because when I had that debate, it was like maybe a couple weeks ago, something like that. And man, like, I didn't go to bed till like 2 a.m. I was so heated because I'm like, yo, like, I'm not even a college athlete, and I understand, bro. Like, I can't get mad because somebody's got a situation that's different than mine that happens to earn the money, possibly. You know what I mean? And then when we're talking about just like the path and not comparing and everything, but when you look at the money that these programs make, it's just wild that, like, y'all don't even get. Because my thing too is, I remember I was in this like debate class one time, and one of the topics was, should college athletes get paid? And I was arguing for it, and my friend was arguing against it. And my argument was, you know, what's unfair is these athletes aren't necessarily asking for a salary, because that's the thing. Yeah, like, that's the biggest point that I think. It's like, I told you,
give me $100 for putting my face on a pamphlet. Like, it's just, I'm not even asking for you to have a payroll where you give out to me monthly. It's just, I should be able to just get my work whenever someone wants to use my likeness. That is all I'm asking.
Yep.
I'm not ever asking for a payroll because that's when it gets difficult. That's when it absolutely gets difficult. And I got, like you said about your debate, I actually had to be in my senior year. We have a sports management class, so we have a sports ethics class. They do a big debate for the whole major at the end of the year. So like I ended up being on the against side because that's how the teams are picked, and that actually made my argument for us getting paid better. Like once I studied why we shouldn't get paid and stuff. Like it was so funny because people were like, "Wow, that was really good." I was like, "Man, that was really bullshit, yo." I think
you're like, this stupid as fuck. What? No. And I just remember having that debate, and I was like, what's wild is we're talking about paying athletes, but the word pay is so vague. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because for further context, at Claflin, I had the scholarship that was under the highest possible scholarship you can get.
Flex on us, okay? Talk.
No, but like I had they paid for everything. I had to pay for my textbooks. Gotcha. The highest scholarship was only given out to like 2 or 3 people, and that scholarship paid for everything. They paid for your textbooks, and then you got like $150 every semester paid to you. They like cut you a check basically to go to school. Damn. And the average person is going to be like $150 a semester ain't shit. That's $300 a year. But the average college student is going to be like, bro, you know how many times I can go to Pizza Hut or some shit? You know what I'm saying? Like it's something. And that was my thing was like college athletes getting paid isn't a salary. Like what if you gave them like $1,000 a semester? That's $2,000 per player. Like
that's a smooth money I'll take.
You see what I'm saying? And that's my thing is like people saying they should absolutely not get paid. And I'm like, but if you're going to say they absolutely can't get paid, you dumb as shit that you can't be that nuanced in how you think. Like, I can see somebody being like, they shouldn't get a salary. But if you say like, they can't get paid at all, it's like, bro, like $1,000 a semester in the grand scheme of things ain't shit, even though there's a bunch of people on a college football team roster.
But that's a lot of gas tanks, baby. I tell you what, that's a lot of gas tanks.
Thank you. Thank you. And that's my thing. Like, sure, I went to school for free. I understand I got that privilege, but like my family don't have money like that. So when I went to school, whatever I saved over the summer is what I spent when I was there for the semester. Exactly. So when my friends would be like, yo, let's have a party. Oh, you want to put in for alcohol? I'd be like, I could put in 5.
I don't even drink.
Right? And that's what I'm saying. Is like, I could put in 5, like, and 5 in the grand scheme of thing ain't a big deal. But I'm thinking in my mind, like, yo, there's like 15 of us. 5 times 15, we could get a lot of liquor. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why are you asking me for more than 5? So you go through. Oh, go ahead.
Here's the thing people don't understand about. I know we've been talking about this topic for a while, but here's the things people don't understand about like boosters, for example. Some like not all boosters are bad. Like your boosters are people who just pay like simple things. Like say a kid he needs to get his tires changed or something. He doesn't have the money. He can't text his mom. Like they pay for a player to get their tire changed. In some programs, like your bigger program is, hey, I need an oil change. Hey, I need my power steering fixed. Can you give me like $35? And boosters give that to you. Boosters aren't all evil people that are just trying to buy these, like pimp these kids out. Like sometimes they just pay for simple things. Like, dude, if I could get my likeness paid for, so I don't have to hit my mom and be like, hey, I got to get my car fixed. It's going to cost like $200. Like I don't really have it right now. You can help me out and I can pay you back whenever I go work over winter break or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like if I could end those texts and things like that, because now I'm hurting my mom's pockets at the end of the day. Like and totally it hurts us as a family. Like my mom, sometimes there's the time my mom is giving me her last just to help me out at the end of the day. Like people don't understand that. And I feel like a lot of people that say we shouldn't get paid are people who are talking from places of privilege. Like you wouldn't understand those struggles. Like when you were in college, you were probably able to go out drinking every weekend because your parents basically funded your alcoholism or whatever with your monthly allowance. And
they
like,
cover your credit card payment.
Yeah, like that's not a thing. Like we don't have that.
Yep. And that's it. And that I think that's the best point. That's the best point. We can leave it off on that. But like honestly, you know, people that talk that way come from a place of privilege, but also the stuff that athletes get as benefits aren't like, I'm not paying you $50,000 to go to the school. Like the worth that Reggie Bush had is a fucking rarity. Like that's not the regular, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, and then like, if I'm a booster and I'm like, oh, you having a problem with your car, let me pay for it. Doesn't that ultimately like, that don't help you necessarily directly where I'm feeding you, but it's like, oh, I'm making sure you can get to practice. Like, it's like that shit, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what I get. That's what I don't understand when people argue against it is like, if y'all got paid, y'all aren't just paying it to, or getting that money and buying. You know what I think though? This is honestly, we can sum it up on this, but I think part of it is football and a lot of athletics are a predominantly black sport. So stereotypes follow, and people think, nah, they can't get paid because they think the stereotype, oh, this dude's just going to buy a fucking chain. You know what I'm saying? He's going to buy a car. And it's like, that's not how it is. The stereotypes may be that, but you need to look in the mirror, realize how fucked up you are. And then second, a lot of people are looking at it like, yo, you gave me $2,000. I'm going to give $1,500 to my mom's, and I'm going to keep this $500 and stretch it till next fucking year. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing. Like, people don't want to say it, but ultimately it gets broken down to a racial component because that's what the sport is. Predominantly, it's black people that drive the sport. And like you said, the people in power, the people with privilege, a lot of them are white people with mad money, and all they want to see is their team do well. And if it's like, oh, PR, you know what I'm saying? Oh, it looks bad that our players get paid. You know what I'm saying? Oh shit, I just knocked my mic over. But you know, that's, to me, I think that's the biggest component of it, because I think on average, if you just removed racial bias, I think people would be like, yeah, everybody should get paid. Fuck it. Yeah. But the average white kids got it better than the average minority. So of course they're thinking, nah, they shouldn't be getting what my kid gets. They shouldn't get the benefit of, like, you know, evening the playing field and being given stuff because the school gives it to them when I worked hard to give it to my kid. You know what I'm saying? But
I feel that.
I don't know. That's my biggest thing. Like, when I had that Twitter spat, I was like, I ain't about to just call this dude out and be like, but you're white with privilege. Like, I didn't want to do that, but I've always looked at it that way, where it's like, you cannot compare, bro, because you don't know where I came from on my roots, and you don't know what I would do with the money. Like, legit, if I was at Claflin and somebody was like $10,000, bow, that's for you. I'd probably pay for my textbooks, keep like maybe $1,000 for me to hold for the year, and I would have gave the rest to my parents to like take out some loans. You know what I'm saying? Like,
don't get it twisted. White people come from poverty too. I want people to understand that. And
they do.
It's more so a poverty issue. Like, we're specifically speaking on the people that usually have these opinions. Majority are people from places of privilege, sitting on their own high horse, who enjoy watching a 1% or 2% of people make the majority of money, and they don't, because like they are the people that have really just gain and benefit a ton from our capitalistic society. So they see everything through that lens and through that microscope. So that's why they see, when they see like, oh, well, why should those kids get money? I don't think everybody should be equal when it comes to pay. Like, why should everybody's worth be equal? And they don't understand that. It's hard for them to comprehend that. So yeah,
I'm very glad you said that, because like sometimes I'd be wilding on this podcast, so like I need a rational mind. I was just like, what people? But that was good. That was a good point. No, yeah. So I'm glad that you made that point, because honestly, yeah, it's just like a place of privilege that people talk from. Because I don't know, like, I don't even know if I'll keep this in the pod, but just like for you and me, that's something that pops up in conversations, at least being like someone who is Latino, and then you've seen people who are white that identify as white and they happen to be Latino, and they will say, you know, like, oh, nah, like these people who are coming from like Mexico or South America, like, you know, that are coming illegally, they shouldn't come here, send them back. And they like support the fucking cages and shit that Trump had. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're Latino and they identify this way, you know, and it's like, these are people that are just like you, but it's because they come from places of privilege where they do not comprehend what it is to see that opportunity that they have every fucking day, like nothing, as the dream. You know what I mean? Like, it's like the pinnacle is just getting to America. It's not even just living in America.
Fact.
You know what I mean? But if we're going to transition, though, because I think we are talking about something that is important in society and the way people perceive things based on their own personal privilege, I think that relates a lot to what happened with ESPN this last, well, maybe a year ago, but it came out this week. So essentially, there was audio that leaked of Rachel Nichols basically calling Maria Taylor, who is awesome. Maria Taylor's a dream. Calling Maria Taylor a diversity hire. Now, I got pissed off because I love Maria Taylor, but also Maria Taylor is like a former college athlete. Mm-hmm. So for her to speak on athletics and speak about basketball and to speak about everything that comes with practice and showing down against a team and strategy, her shit really carries weight. You know what I'm saying? Like any other former athlete, just because she didn't play in the WNBA necessarily, or she might have, I may not know, but the fact that she's a former athlete, it carries weight. It doesn't matter. So to call her a diversity hire really offended me because I'm like, God damn, like she obviously earned her way to get to this point. And then for that audio to get leaked was like, this is wild. And then to see Rachel Nichols come out and apologize, to have Kendrick Perkins and Richard Jefferson talk more than her on her little bit on ESPN, just to follow up with her finally getting knocked off the NBA Finals coverage, which I was like, obviously this is just your recovery tactic, but like, I want to get your opinion on it because it was just like, it was wild to me.
I think the most degrading thing about that whole conversation was, first of all, that was LeBron's lead advisor that she was speaking to. And I don't think I have not seen LeBron answer for that yet. Maybe I've missed it. I don't know. I don't know if we're giving him the pass for that, but that guy needs to be held accountable as well. So I think LeBron needs to show us that he really cares about these things too. And he has in the past, but time to put your money where your mouth is once again. And, that guy needs to be reprimanded, whatever, taken off your team, whatever. But when his advisor had said, with the Me Too movement, the BLM movements, I'm just exhausted. And Rachel Nichols laughed, and she thought that was funny. Like, the Me Too movement, I think Jalen Rose's daughter is the girl who put out the TikTok yesterday that went around.
Yep.
Where she spoke, and it was like, wow, I didn't even catch that the first time because I was so caught up on her talking about Maria Taylor as like a token hire. And it's amazing because Rachel Nichols is a person who, I've liked Rachel Nichols. I'm not gonna lie. I thought she was decent. I like some people. I don't really care about their analysis. I just like their voice. I think their voice fits what I want to hear from my TV, like in the background when I'm doing certain things. Not necessarily just looking for their analysis, because that's that creates. That's how the sports comes. You have a nostalgia from your favorite announcer, your favorite different, like just hearing the sounds. And she's one of those people. I've seen her. She got to be on the All the Smoke podcast with Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes and stuff, talking about equality and all these things. But behind closed doors, you're being something else. Like, that's the thing that really frustrates you the most, because you were a person who we thought, stood in solidarity for us. You're a person that has a big platform, a big name and everything. And now you put those, like, there might have been some white people that came to understand what happened in the past year with the George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter movements because of her. There's probably a lot of people that came to understand things because of her. But now this thing leaked. And maybe you have those people like, oh, so maybe it is okay for us to think like that at the end of the day. Okay, well, back to business as usual. And I think that's what hurts the most. We're trying to be unified as a country, be unified as people. And then just seeing ESPN, they're going to give her a slap on the wrist. I think I might have seen you tweet about it. She'll come back around. Like, she'll take a couple weeks off and she'll come back around. But I don't really see it in disciplining her. And that's what irritates me the most about it. We're not going to hold people accountable. They're going to call it, white people will call it cancel culture and whatnot. But I just don't think there's a place for you to be able to say those things. Like, I wouldn't say, oh, well, we just hired that woman because she has big boobs or a nice face. Like, I wouldn't say that. It's like, clearly we hired her because she's talented or blah, blah, and all this. And Maria Taylor is incredible talent. One of my favorite people to watch on ESPN. Like, she knows what she's talking about. Very knowledgeable. She has one of those voices that you like to hear at the end of the day too. She's very presentable, very articulate, and you just love seeing people that know what they're talking about on your television. And I was pissed because at first I was like, oh, it can't be that bad. It's Rachel Nichols. And then I listened to it and I said, oh.
You're like, God damn, Rachel Wyatt.
This, man. Her apology just sucked. And then you have Richard Jefferson and Kendrick Perkins, up there on the national stage. Like, obviously you don't want to just shit on your colleague in front of the world. But if I were Richard Jefferson, from the national stage, I would have said, like, what you did was not okay. And this is why it wasn't okay. Like, it's okay to have those conversations. I don't care if you're in front of cameras or not in front of cameras. You tell someone why it's okay, and why it's not okay. You tell them where they missed the mark on different things. You don't have to drag her in front of a national media. Like, there's things you go about and do it in a respectful way. Kind of the way that we talked about how if me and Sciggy disagree, here's the floor and explain. Like, that's what it is. And we have to be comfortable with. We can't ask for unity as a country, and then we say, well, these conversations we shouldn't have on air of certain things. Like I thought we were trying to get past that point. Like we're trying to have these conversations on a national stage so everyone can see these things at the end of the day. Hey, that's ESPN.
No, that's ESPN, yeah. And like, so first of all, to your point, kind of like related to the last topic where we were talking about, you know, understanding why college athletes should get paid. There's a place of privilege that people come from that, you know, like criticize that. So we have to understand that there is like a certain barometer of experience that like people are going to understand it or not. And it's not necessarily like solely in like racial experience, but it's like the privilege and the money that you got. So in terms of this experience and how like Rachel Nichols acted, we can't necessarily say like, oh, it's white women crazy, but it's like the way the way she's going about it, where she has been like an ally for a while, or a quote unquote ally for a while. She's been on all the Smoke podcasts and she has talked about equality and talked about respect to other people. And then to do this behind the scenes, like demonstrates that it is easy to act as if you are on like the right side of history, that you are on the right side of understanding people's struggle and being accepting and being inclusive. So that was my main thing that got me, was the instance you talked about where she laughed. Because I was like, if you're in private, you shouldn't necessarily feel the pressure to like uphold a certain image or act a certain way. Now, I can't distinguish that because like I'm not her in her industry in front of a very well-known, like established, like white dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, so to have that pressure on you is different. To have that microscope where it's you and this person, you're like, oh, this is a rare opportunity. But I'm just assuming like it should not be that rare of an opportunity because he's like LeBron's advisor and it's not like LeBron. But anyway, if I'm talking to somebody in private and I didn't know this camera wasn't recording me, I feel like if somebody was like, man, me too, BLM, I'm tired of it, I'd be like, yo, fuck you, bro. And then just log off the call. Like, why am I still talking to you? If I really was about it and I felt that way, which I do in real life, if somebody's coming to me in private, especially where I have no pressure of the outside weighing on my shoulders, and they're criticizing something that's supposed to be good for society that I've defended in public, there should be no reason for you to just be like, end call, leave room. You know what I mean? Like, and for her to laugh and just be like, ha, ha, ha. I was like, that's ridiculous.
You're going to speak your heart. You're going to speak what's on your heart in those kind of settings. Like when you feel loosey-goosey and stuff, like you felt comfortable saying that, too comfortable saying that, and too comfortable laughing at it. So
yeah, exactly. And that's the thing too, is like, I'm not diminishing what she said about Maria, where she was saying, oh, they got her that opportunity because they felt the pressure, blah, 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 blah. I'm not diminishing that. But I can see why you would compare yourself to a peer in the same industry, the same company, and be like, I deserve it more. So I know that's kind of negating the racial factor, but I can see why somebody would go there mentally. But I don't understand why something that is outside of your company, like BLM and like Me Too, that matters in general, that is a big movement in like countrywide, is something you would laugh about. Because that's my thing too. She could have just been quiet and continued the conversation, but like she was just like, haha. And it's like, why are you buddy with this dude about an opinion that he's obviously, I'm not gonna, give LeBron a pass because like you said, he's got to answer for it. But like for a dude who's supposed to be buddy with LeBron, for him to say that and you're just laughing is like I feel like if that's a person that works with LeBron, I'd be shocked if he said that. You know what I'm saying?
I was like, LeBron's advisor? I was like,
And that's my thing, is like, there's too many variables that go into it to justify like her reaction as something that's normal. So I'm just like, oh, no, that's just how she feels. Like, she's just like, oh, yeah, it is a joke. Ha ha. And then she got caught and now suddenly she wants to be apologetic. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, like to your point, it's just like the fact that she laughed, and when you start adding in all of the other variables about this like situation, all the other factors, it just makes it so like problematic, hurtful, but then it's also demonstrative of like what minorities go through in a workplace, where it's like you have to be what's the phrase? Like, you got to be twice as hard or twice as good just to be
get us just as far.
yeah, twice as good just to go just as far. Like that happens so often. And then I think I tweeted this, and I don't know if it's problematic to say on the pod, but like something that frustrates me is that women do suffer more than men in society. Men got it good comparatively. But what frustrates me is that you have somebody like Rachel Nichols, who's a white woman, who said at one point where she's like, I understand because, I'm a woman in ESPN.
Oh, this is perfect. I was literally just about to tell you, okay, for people who don't want to hear the racial component, let's take race out. At the end of the day, Rachel Nichols, if I don't know if you've ever listened to her episode on All the Smoke, her biggest talking point in her career was talking about how as a woman, she had to prove she could do this and that to get those kind of sources, to even have the kind of conversation and private conversation she was having with LeBron's advisor. She talked about what it took to build relationships like that and how hard it was for her and how many times she had to be degraded and be skipped over in press conferences because she was a woman and no one wanted to hear her questions. And then she gets her foot in the door. Now you get all this access to all these NBA players and you're going to try to act like you've never been there before. Or you're so jealous that someone is the new talent at ESPN, who's the new queen on the block at the end of the day. I don't care if she was white or black. Because I feel like at the end of the day, too, maybe if it was a white woman, she probably would have been hating, too. Because it also sounds like she's jealous of Maria Taylor's talent at the end of the day.
True.
So it's just, I just don't understand how you turn your back on everything you came from. It's like you forgot your foundation, how hard it was for you to get into the business. And then you claim to have empathy for black people during this time and the things that they've gone through in this country. And now you're trying to put down not only a woman, but a black woman who, probably has it. If we have it twice as hard, she probably has it 4 times as hard in the industry at the end of the day. So now you're just going back on everything you've tried to say you're built on and say what your foundation is built on just for a moment in a private conversation to probably get some exclusive details about LeBron or something in a private conversation. It's just like, don't change who you are just to fit a setting. If you're going to be this person, be that person all the time. Be that person when the camera's off. And for her colleagues at ESPN to stand up for her, I understand they're probably good friends with Rachel Nichols, and they probably feel like they've had conversations with her where she was all this and I agree and all this stuff. But that right there should be scary to me. Like, that's the kind of person that you have in your corner and you've probably had private conversations with, and she still doesn't get it. Yep,
exactly. And like, what really strikes me about it too is, like you said, whether it's the fact that Maria Taylor's black or not, just the fact that she was so envious of this person, and she has claimed this situation where it's harder as a woman to come up in sports and blah blah blah. You would think that she would be happy that this person gets this opportunity, and it's not necessarily the end of her career.
Bro, you host a show on ESPN every day with Tracy McGrady and all kinds of NBA legends sitting beside you, and you're pissed because they're going to ask you to go just be a sideline reporter for the NBA Finals and give Maria Taylor her shot at just being on the grand stage and just be the host. 7 games. That's all it is. 7 games.
Yeah. For the finals.
All season. Maria Taylor doesn't have her own show that she's pretty much the host of on ESPN, where she runs the show pretty much. She doesn't even have her own show. Like, she's not even on like a First Take where she's sitting in the middle or anything. Like, she doesn't have that. And you have all of that. And you're still envious of her.
Yep. And that's the thing. And I think that is the point that I think kind of, I don't want to say it proves it, but it supports that notion that it's her being envious of a black woman that is like coming into this, industry. Because it's like, why are you so just hurt over this woman getting an opportunity for the NBA Finals? It's not like they replaced you. Oh no, I froze. Can you see me? Yeah, oh yeah, you froze too. Oh, can you hear me?
I got you now.
All right, I see. What was the last thing you heard?
You got to start over on that little, because you barely got started.
Damn. All right.
Like, you barely got started when you dropped it out.
No, I was going to say, so it's not like necessarily the racial component, because what gets me is that she was just so envious of Maria Taylor in general, just getting this opportunity and claiming to be so supportive of like women in sports and like, oh, I struggled as a woman. Like, Maria Taylor got the opportunity for the finals. Like when you read the New York Times article, it was her to lead coverage of the finals. It wasn't, oh, hey, Rachel Nichols, get the fuck out. And Maria Taylor's just doing the finals, the sideline reporting for next year, like everything. They literally were just like, oh, we just want Maria to get this opportunity for the finals. And Rachel was like, oh my God, my career is over. Like, and that's what gets me is like, I understand that the scarcity of women in sports is a big deal. So I get like, maybe you'd feel scared, like, damn, there's another woman coming in here. They're just going to replace me with another woman. But you can't, you can't be in a private, like my thing is, if you're in a private conversation where you think anyway, that you're not being recorded, and then you bring up the diversity hire aspect and talk about the pressure from the outside on ESPN, it's like, so it's not just, oh, there's less women. Now they're going to give this woman an opportunity. You obviously established that it's the fact that she is a Black woman that is coming to take this opportunity from you. And you're afraid that she's taking that permanently.
And you just brought up an excellent point right there that I don't think a lot of people understand when it comes to, like for me, I try to be as selfless as a person as possible at the end of the day. And when we're talking about things that are truly meaningful to our society and pushing our society forward at the end of the day, say I'm Rachel Nichols at the end of the day, and Maria Taylor is more talented than I am. And what Maria Taylor can do, what her skills and her skill set can do, can push the conversation forward and push the path of women further than my talents and skills can in this industry. So why are you not willing to sacrifice or lay down your career? Because like you made a great career at the end of the day. To pass the baton to somebody who can run the race longer than you can. And like you could probably get you guys to third or second place, whatever. If you could hand that baton to Maria Taylor, because she's the one that can win the race for women at the end of the day, you give her that baton if this issue is really that serious to you. It's like, if my goal at the end of the day is to be a GM by 35 and be a black GM at that, which is hard.
Yeah.
But there's a guy who is behind me who has more talent than me, more charisma than me, more knowledgeable than me. He's better at leading a group of men than I am. And I think he can push our culture forward, push our community as a Black community forward in that industry. I'm going to pass the baton to him and say, hey, man, I'm here behind you 100%. Whatever you need, I got you. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to be fine. I will be fine, I promise. But I would not be fine if I continue to be selfish and take away from other people's blessings and try and take away from other things from other people. Like, that's just not who I am as a person. That won't sit well with me at the end of the day. And if that's what sits right in her heart, by all means, hey, that's you. But that's just not how I roll at the end of the day.
I feel you. And I think to your point, I think there is a sense of, I may have tweeted this earlier, but I think there's a sense of like maturity that comes with this type of situation, because what you said, the line you said, I think that's what carries weight so heavily, because you got people who are so envious and they want for them and not for others. But like you said, old boy could carry the baton, take the baton, and then shit just gets better because of him. I pass it to him. It gets better because of him. I'm going to be fine. Yeah, that's the line. That's the line that struck with me, because I think a lot of people are so insecure about taking care of their own shit that like they think losing out on a major opportunity is going to hurt them in the long run. Because that's part of me. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like for those of y'all that like horoscopes, I'm a Pisces. I'm very to myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm very selfless. I've always been a selfless person. I don't give a shit. Like, if somebody has an opportunity to make 10 million and they look at me and they go, I'm gonna give you 500,000. I'm gonna be like, I appreciate you, Chief. Because like I'm still getting a little bit something out of it because I helped you get there. But I ain't gonna be mad because he didn't give me 5 million. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just looking at it like, cool, do you. I'm very proud of you. That's great. I put you on. But I got a little something out of it. Even if I didn't get anything, I know I got mine, because at the end of the day, my default is I'm taking care of me and mine. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's the thing that gets me is I think some people, we could transition this to those questions that I like to ask my guests. Perfect. About life and just how you carry yourself. But I think that's another part of the conversation is I think some people don't know how to carry themselves, or they just don't carry themselves in a way that's going to be conducive to being flexible to future situations or things that just come down the pike that they got to deal with. Because like, that's one thing I always told any ex that I dated. That's one thing I told my fiance right now. I was like, if shit don't work out between us, I'm going to be fine. Because like, I always work my ass off to make sure my career is good, to make sure I know I can take care of my own loans and my own debt and shit like that, my own responsibilities. So if we aren't together, I'm going to be straight. You know what I'm saying? And that, that's kudos to my parents, because my parents were always like, never rely on anybody else. You got to take care of yourself. And I took that to heart. I was like, I'm not even going to rely on my parents, because it's not necessarily care, but if something financially comes up with my parents, I can't, lean on them, and something comes up with themselves, because then I'm screwed. So that's part of why I went to Claflin. That's part of why when I went to my master's degree, I did it online. My parents were like, oh, let's take the loans out and we could pay it for you. I was like, no, I'm paying that shit myself. Like, I'm going to work that off. Yeah, I ain't got to worry about that. I'm getting my master's. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Like, any kind of debt or anything like that. Like, I went and got a car. I didn't at the time. Now I got it. But at the time, I didn't have the credit to go get a car. My dad co-signed with me, and my dad was like, oh, I'll pay half of the car like every month. I was like, Dad, no, I got it. And I paid him. I'm still paying it. I'm almost done, but I'm still paying it every month. I got the bill, because like, I don't want to rely on somebody, and I want to take care of myself at the end of the day. So that way, when I'm good and I'm in a situation where it's like, oh, I could benefit myself, this money's coming to me, period. I'm good. I could buy whatever I want. I could take care of my kids. If I can help somebody who needs it, I can. And I don't have to lean on anybody else to, prop me up if that loan I give out or that favor or that help, bites me in the ass.
Yeah.
So I've always been that way. And I think that's what's crazy about Rachel Nichols, is she's like, I can't, oh my God, she got this opportunity. What the fuck am I going to do? Oh my, like, even if it's not the fact that she's a Black woman, she's just like, they're giving her the finals. What am I going to do? I'm like, it's like, bitch, you had a wonderful, illustrious career. Everybody knows Rachel motherfucking Nichols. If you're not on ESPN, that ain't the end of the world. You could end up on Fox Sports, and people are still going to tune in because it's Rachel Nichols. But she wants ESPN. She wants like that and what she got, and that's it, and nobody else impedes on it. So the fact that somebody that's more talented, like you said, comes up, she can't give that up. That's what I don't understand. It's like, if you taking care of your own and you got yourself, like you said, I'm going to be good no matter what, that shouldn't be a problem, because in the grand scheme of things, the greater picture is going to be better in the future.
Right. Very, very true. Very true. Like you said, for me, one of the biggest things that comes down to me as a person, I think I've always been willing to sacrifice my own mental health in the past, because I know, like, when bad things happen to me, or if I get down in a struggle, I know the way I'm set up mentally, I'm going to get through it. That's just how I'm built. But I know everybody's not built that way. So like, sometimes I sacrifice my own mental health for the betterment of somebody else. Cause like, I don't want to see them in that position, because I don't think they can handle being that low or being down in the dumps. Cause like, okay, I'll take the pain so they don't have to deal with that kind of thing. Cause I'm afraid of what might happen to them if they end up on that kind of level that I've been at, or that kind of adversity that I've been at. When me, it's like, I'm gonna be fine regardless. I'm getting out of it. It might take longer than last time, or maybe it's going to be a short period of time, but at the end of the day, I know I'm getting through it. Some people, not everybody can handle that kind of adversity. Not everybody can handle being all the way in a bad place. Some people don't take it the right way. Some people take it out on themselves. Some people take it on others around them. And it's one of those things where it's like, I had to grow up in that realm a little bit. Like, yes, what I was doing was selfless, but at the same time, I had to learn how to take care of my mental health and stop always putting other people first and sacrificing how I was feeling at the end of the day and how I was doing mentally at the end of the day, and just letting myself deteriorate just so I can help other people not deteriorate. Exact
facts, man. I'm glad you said that, because like, I think there's very few people out there that are willing to do that, where they take the proverbial bullet. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna make sure that you're good, because I know, even though this is gonna be stressful for me, I can take it. I'm gonna be good. But, I got you. We're going to progress through this. And, shout out to my boy Tony, because, like, that's my best friend. I was best man at his wedding. He's going to be best man at mine. He's been guest on the show. He's going to listen to this, and he's going to be like, Word, yes, facts. Like I've been there for him in those situations. He's been there for me definitely in those situations. And sometimes like you just need to give up yourself, but then you also gotta find that person that's gonna lock you down no matter what. You know what I mean? Like you gotta find that person. But yo, JB, everybody listening, I need you to give some love to JB. If you listen to this and you like the episode ends and you exit out your app, I need you to @ JB immediately and be like, yo, like this episode was dope, dog. Like I need you on this fucking pod again. For real.
I'll come back anytime, man. Whenever you need me, just hit me up. Whatever time.
Hell yeah. Dog, like shout out to everybody listening to ATB Network, any pod on the ATB Network, especially on campus, especially Talkin Ish. Everybody that's like keeping up and you're seeing all the new things happening. Shout out to Chris Spooner. Yo, bro, like we got a pod coming up. This shit is dope. Everything is gonna be great. Everything is growing. Everything is becoming more vibrant and more beautiful. But listen to On Campus with JB and Sciggy. Shout out to Sciggy. You ain't here, but I love you, dog. I love all your opinions. I think you're funny as fuck. I gotta have you on the pod soon. Shout out to JB. Thank you, bro, for being on this pod, for letting me have you. Really appreciate this conversation, dog.
Pleasure is mine, man. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, man.
For real, bro. Hell yeah, dog. And like, yo, deadass, this might be off the pod, but good luck with everything. You need anything, you need advice, it don't matter, bro. Hit me up.
I will take it.
Nah, bro, but yo, everybody listening that tuned in, I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you very much for listening to the Talkin Ish podcast. This is Felix, aka @FootballPoppy. This is my boy JB, Jeremiah Bogan. Thank you for joining me, bro. Yeah. Oh my God. Thank you so much, y'all. And yeah, tune in next time. And also tune in to the On Campus podcast. Shit is fuego. You better fucking tune in, dog. If you don't listen to it, you don't tune in, I'm gonna kick your ass in person. It don't matter.
Leave them 5 stars, baby. Leave them 5 stars.
Yo, JB, I love you, bro. I appreciate you being on the pod, bro.
Love you too, boss, man.
Take it easy, dog.
It's too late.